Hey guys, All in Crypto here, and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for another YouTube video. I hope you've all had a fantastic weekend so far. It is Saturday for me. It will be Sunday for you when I release the video. Today, we're going to be diving in, hopefully asking and answering the question of when is this bull run going to end, if it is indeed going to end, and what I mean by that is, are we perhaps going to not see a typical crypto style bear market, and are we going to sort of see continual growth as it becomes an established asset class, in the same way that we saw the dot-com stocks go through a boom and a bust in the 1990s, and then after that they sort of established themselves within the world. Is crypto about to do the same thing? We're going to be looking at that. Within this, what we're going to be doing is looking at the Bitcoin 4-year cycle theory, why I actually happen to think that you aren't going to end the bull run at the turn of the new year. Now, typically with the Bitcoin 4-year cycle theory, the new year has been really a good sell indicator. You want to get out just before the sort of new year, before we enter a bear market and continue with this 4-year cycle theory. Because if we do follow the 4-year cycle theory, it would kind of dictate that 2022 would be a 2018, or prior to that 2014. I'm going to be telling you why I actually believe that this isn't potentially going to play out. Now, what I actually want to do, so why does Bitcoin, and why has it followed this 4-year cycle theory? Well, we know that that Bitcoin has a halvening every 4 years, and that's why you have these cycles. And I'm going to put the halvenings on. We are going to talk about the lengthening cycle theory and why I actually think there's a lot of credence to this. Cycles typically are lengthening. There's a few people that do analysis on Bitcoin and are big fans of the 4-year cycle theory that would actually have this as the first cycle, this is the second, and this is the third. But we've only really had this one cycle as a complete 4-year cycle theory, and I've been here for over 4 years now, and ultimately I do think that this bull run's going to continue for a longer period of time, certainly go into next year, and I'm going to be explaining the reasons why I think this in this video. So it's a really fun one. It's a great way for newcomers to the space and people that have been here for a long time to sort of share your thoughts and perspectives within the comment section, guys. As I'm going along with this video, feel free to drop a comment, a thought, etc., etc. Really, I've been looking a lot at Plan B stock to flow model. They predicted 98k by the end of this month. It turns out that that's not going to be the case. Certainly with 4 days left, 4 days left of this month, it doesn't look very likely. Now, models work until they don't, and that's just how it is, guys. And you've got to remember that a mathematical programmed model doesn't really take into account real world events, and that's what we're seeing at the moment. And this is one reason why I don't actually believe, I think with the 4-year cycle theory, and this is really where I want to start this video off, the reason you've moved in these kind of wave-like motions and you followed this 4-year cycle theory is largely due to the halvening. And essentially, this causes a supply shock, and I'm going to show you that. So what I'm going to do is get a blank chart for you of Bitcoin's life cycle. Here we've got it since July the 19th, 2010. Bitcoin, of course, was created in 2008. And essentially it was traded on spreadsheets, so there was no real representation in regards to charting back then, which is why it only really starts where it does. So what I want to do is put the first halvening on. The first Bitcoin halvening occurred on the 28th of November 2012. So let's pop that on and let's see what the price does after this, to show you really, and this is a great video for those of you that are new to the market. So where are we at? November. There we go. That's close enough. What was it, 29th? I'm all over the place here, guys. Sorry. The 28th. So that's close enough. We've got it on the 26th. And you can see what happens to the price after the halvening takes place. And what the Bitcoin halvening essentially is the rewards get cut in half. This is going to happen. It happened in 2020. It's going to happen again in 2024. This undoubtedly has to have an effect on the price, because essentially miners become half as profitable, so the price needs to go up in order to accommodate for that. There's a huge scarcity element with Bitcoin in relation to that and its supply, and this is really where the stock to flow kind of comes from, and that's why you see it moving up in relation to it. So the second halvening that we had, guys, was on July the 6th, July the 9th, 2016. Let's put that on. July. We'll just pop it somewhere in July, guys. I'm not going to, sort of for the sake of the video and the length of it, go into and plot everything out. I should have maybe done this pre, but it's good for you guys to kind of see what I'm talking about and plotting things out. And then, of course, the most recent one that we had was May the 11th, 2020. So where are we? Right here. And you can see, can you see why you have these kind of halvenings and how this ties in with your Bitcoin 4-year cycle theory, and you have these kind of wave-like structures to Bitcoin, because the halvening takes place and you can see what happens to the price. With the first one, halvening takes place, you start your bull run. Second one, halvening takes place, you start your bull run that leads up to 2017. This one, and this is where we currently are. And I've been talking about the Bitcoin 4-year cycle theory for a long time. It's what essentially has allowed me to invest in the crypto space successfully, certainly to date. But just like Plan B stock to flow, models work until they don't. The reason I'm bringing up the halvenings and the effect that they have on Bitcoin's price is this is going to continue. You're going to see halvenings don't stop. But what I think, I think they're going to have less of an impact, if you will, and real world forces are going to play more of a role within crypto, in the same way that sort of Amazon, after its kind of boom and bust cycle, crypto is very unique. Certainly Bitcoin is very unique in the sense that, stocks don't really have a mechanism in them that makes them become scarcer and scarcer over time and finite, whereas Bitcoin does. So this is a completely new asset class that we're looking at, and these are all points that's kind of worth bearing in mind. So this is essentially why you have your 4-year cycle theory, and this dictates that we are going to end the cycle this year and then of course enter a bear market next year. I happen to disagree with that. The reason being is I actually think that cycles are getting longer. What I've done here, guys, so I think this was your first cycle, this was your second cycle, this was your third cycle, and of course you're on your fourth, and we're going from top to top, and really I've overlaid them onto the current day cycle. The reason why I've done this, we've gone a bit haywire there, is to really highlight the fact that cycles are getting longer. So your first cycle was approximately, I think, 350 something days, 336 days approximately. Your second cycle, which is of course in green, was 910 days. Your third cycle, which was obviously leading up to 2017, was 1,500 days roundabouts. And currently today, ladies and gentlemen, the cycle that you're currently in is 1,463 days. So you can see that cycles are absolutely lengthening and have done to date. Now, this completely would contradict the 4-year cycle theory that works based around the halvenings. We're in a different market to what we have previously been, ladies and gentlemen. And yesterday, of course, we know the market sold off due to a new variant fear. And this is, crypto's largely been in its own kind of little world prior. It's not really been a part of the kind of financial system. Now you're seeing the same actors that we have in the traditional financial realm coming into the crypto space, and it's going to act differently accordingly to this. So people talk about a super cycle. This is really what the super cycle looks like. This, of course, Amazon. You kind of have this boom and bust, and then when you go on to make new all-time highs, you don't really look back as adoption starts to kick in. Bitcoin's still very early in its adoption curve. What you're really looking at when you're looking at a Bitcoin chart is adoption, and it's still exceptionally early in relation to where I believe it's going to go to. So I don't actually think that we're going to end this cycle this year, end this bull run this year. The truth is nobody really knows, but I think there's enough evidence to suggest that we're going to go into next year. Certainly from where I'm standing, I do think cycles get longer. This has been pointed out, like I say, the main kind of criticism to the 4-year cycle theory really is, or the lengthening cycle theory, I should say, really is the fact that this, people are saying, was a cycle. A 4-year cycle. Now, the halvening definitely did have an effect. We looked at that and we looked at it did the same thing, and it's going to continue to do the same thing, by the way, guys. Halvening is going to be a very bullish event for Bitcoin into the future. But I just happen to think that bull markets are getting longer and longer. And the thing is, with crypto, now it's a different kind of market. brilliant example of this was March 2020, where we had a massively inflationary event. It was potentially one of the most bullish events for Bitcoin and crypto as a whole, on a number of levels. Certainly if you look at the fact that Bitcoin was really created as an alternative to the dollar, and the dollar got very weak and got hyperinflated and all its faults were kind of highlighted. This was a hugely bullish event, and then this pullback, which was unorthodox for a bull run, 55% or so, was really as due to the fact that we went up very fast in a small period of time, and then there was a kind of cooling off period. And I think you've still got I think the market conditions are very different to what they have previously been in 4-year cycles, and I think this is going to echo through. And I do believe you're going to top out into next year. We're yet to see. Nobody has an exact idea of when things are going to end. But I do think into next year. I think even though I'm a huge fan of the Bitcoin 4-year cycle theory, this is a video I made over a year ago talking about it, before we'd even entered this year when Bitcoin was at 19k, and we'd done a lot of videos prior to this. I just don't think you're going to top out perfectly at the end of the year. I really don't. And things, just like Plan B stock to flow, just like a load of models out there, they work until they don't. And it's going to be a huge blow when we do continue into next year. And I do think we are going to continue into next year. I think you're seeing adoption ramp up. You're seeing crypto be taken seriously. And it would kind of blow this 4-year cycle theory a little bit out of the water. But the 4-year cycle theory is really just a halvening, and the effect that it has on the price, which I've shown you here, which some of you may not have even known before watching this video. So I just thought this was a very entertaining and perhaps thought-provoking video to put forward. So the answer is nobody really knows when the bull run's going to end. There's two main theories: 4-year cycle theory, lengthening cycle theory. But then you've got another theory, which of course is that we go on a bit of a super cycle and we just see that kind of growth and adoption take place, which we've yet to really see, and we're yet to see really mainstream finance adopt crypto. We're yet to even have regulatory clarity in something like the US. And this is all coming, and what kind of effect, what happens to Bitcoin, for example, if we get into what's supposed to be a bear market in 2022 and the SEC come out and say that they're going to start regulating and championing crypto. That would throw the 4-year cycle theory and this kind of notion that just because we have done previously, we've got to again go into a bear market completely out the window, because you'd see institutional FOMO, which would have a huge effect on the price. Markets can be moved with a lot less money. Market cap is a complete lie. When you look at $2.5 trillion, there is not $2.5 trillion within the crypto space. That's going to sound very strange to some of you, but market cap is a secondary to the price. So the price determines the market cap, and price is determined by a very small amount of the liquid overall supply getting sloshed back and forth on exchanges. So Bitcoin, for example, you couldn't pull $1 trillion out of Bitcoin, etc., etc. But that's for another video. We've covered that in a lot. What to look out for? When may it be a good time to sell? Well, typically bull markets, and this isn't just within crypto, this is kind of as a whole, if we take it off the logarithmic, when you see this kind of price movement, it may be a good time to get out. When you see this kind of parabola, it's a very good suggestion that markets are getting a little bit hot and overheated, and it's an unsustainable price movement. So just like we saw it here, you see a correction off the back end of it, and we've recovered since then. So crypto still looks very good as an investment. The truth is nobody really knows when these cycles are going to end and how they're going to look like from here on out. But one thing that I'm going to do on this channel is keep you guys up to date as I see it. And right now I do actually believe that we are going to take a longer road to get to some of the price predictions that we've kind of predicted on this channel, and we are going to go into next year. And I think there is real credence for the fact that cycles are lengthening. And that is really what I have for you in this video, guys. I'm going to love and leave you on that note. If you've enjoyed the content, a like is always appreciated. So as a comment, remember we do have the Cardano stake pool all in. We're doing very well and minting blocks now. So if you guys want to delegate your ADA to us via Yoroi or Daedalus, that would be fantastic. I'm going to love and leave you on that note, guys. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and I will catch you all in the next YouTube video. Thank you very much for watching.